Hey there, it's Sue Richey again. If you're new to our channel, I am the principal broker of Richey Property Management. We are a property management and real estate brokerage in the Northern Virginia area, just outside of DC. Now, this next video I'm kind of doing an intro for is kind of a part two of a series, not a series, but sort of an interview I did with a gentleman named Jonathan, who I got to know when he reached out to our company looking for some help. He and I have stayed in touch. We have, become friends. We bounce some ideas off of each other. And he is doing an awesome job of looking at rental or investment properties and investment cities outside of the Washington area. In Washington, it's pretty expensive to buy a rental property. And while we work with many, many landlords, some people who own their properties because they lived in them and now they're going away, they don't want to sell them right now, and other people who have bought investments. But there are definitely other parts of the country where investments are easier to get cash flow, and he has done some of that. He's purchased 4 properties in other areas, and so we sat down, did a little bit of a discussion about areas he's looking in, kind of the criteria, how did he find the people to work with, and things like that. So if you're interested in that, take a look, and hopefully some of the things we talk about can help you too. Okay, so anyway, so life's been pretty busy just in terms of work and or the rental business, or just all of it?
Pretty much all of it. I mean, trying to find houses that I like they're going to make money, especially out of state. You have to really rely on a lot of other people.
Yeah.
So vetting those people as well. It's just there's a lot to do that goes into, especially long distance.
Yeah. Well, that's one of the things I wanted to talk to you about. And I want to talk about that kind of part of this conversation first is the, the investing side, because obviously on our channel, we talk primarily about property management, but obviously property management means that you need to own a rental property first. And some people come to us with properties that they lived in. They were their primary home. They have to rent them out because they go somewhere. And some people come because they purchased an investment properties, and others maybe have one or are looking for one. So sometimes it's not that easy to buy in your backyard because of a number of reasons. And, you and I met because you reached out to me, about some properties that you all have in your family, but it's, we know that Washington, DC, it's tough to buy a property here to make, depending on your goals, whether it's cash flow. I mean, we do have some good appreciation, but it's expensive. Yeah. And so it doesn't always work for everybody. So that's what I wanted to talk to you about, because I know you've been actively doing, looking in other markets and studying other markets, connecting with people. Yeah. So let's talk about that for a little bit. And so in the market, so how have you, when did you start looking in other markets? How did you start your search? How did you get connected with somebody, whether that's a good realtor, investor, or property manager in the other places? So tell us just kind of some of your background and how you started looking elsewhere.
Sure. So, I mean, I had been managing my dad's properties for a while. And one day I was driving home. I was like, why don't I just do this on my own? So I started running numbers for the houses in the area, and it was like, okay, you got to put down 50% on a $450,000 house just to get any kind of cash flow. Yeah. So I did a lot of research on Bigger Pockets, that website, listening to a ton of podcasts, a ton of audiobooks at work or driving. And then I kind of just started running numbers for different cities. So I started in Indianapolis first. I had no idea what I was doing. I just, okay, this looks nice. So pick a house, run the numbers. Does it work? Yes. If not, then move on.
Yeah. There's a lot of websites out there that'll tell you, like, Bigger Pockets is one of those. Obviously everybody knows about that who's interested in investing in management. Yeah. They have a lot of information, but there's a ton of things I've seen out there, resources for, here are the top cities in this year, and and why, and that Indianapolis kind of is. In fact, I spoke with someone there not too long ago, but that's been on the list. So yeah, so I'm sure you're looking at similar lists and talking.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is really finding the right agent too, right realtor, because absolutely. I mean, the person I spoke to in Indianapolis, she I think mainly deals with primary residences, right?
Yeah.
So she's not going to really understand what we're looking for as investors. So
Yeah.
finding
No,
the right agent is really important.
it definitely is. And the traditional agent, I mean, when I started out in the real estate business to begin with, I started out as I was just buying and selling homes. And yeah, my dog.
Yeah.
It's it would be a surprise if you didn't hear barking working.
Yeah.
It I just started out as an agent, but we my husband and I always had an interest in purchasing rental property, and that's kind of how we started in that. And then
Yeah.
and having our management business, it's really helped us keep a pulse on the sales side and the rental side. What's happening with rental rates? What's happening in the market now? We all know right now it's an insane buyer's market. Sellers are so happy, but it's very different. And so somebody who just focuses on selling only doesn't really know the investing side. And interestingly enough, in Indianapolis, I spoke with a guy that is similar to us, has a management company, but they really work with investors. So they really understand. He's a good guy. I want to do an interview with him at some point, and other people in other markets that are like that, to help, connect people who are looking in different places. So, so I think that's really key in finding the right partner person to work with. And that takes
Absolutely
a lot of, connecting with this person, somebody else, in different places. So when you were looking in the other cities, tell me what criteria you used that could be helpful to other people who might listen to this. Like, what criteria in terms of either a rental, were you looking for cash flow? Was there some formula you used to say, hey, this works? Because obviously we don't know the markets in other cities and neighborhoods the way you do in your own backyard.
Right. Yeah. The biggest thing I started off was cash flow, right? Because the more cash you have coming in, then you can take that and reinvest it and buy more properties. But what I was running into was, okay, cash flow would come, but then it's like in higher crime areas or areas that weren't so great. So then I just started looking at houses that I could see myself living in. And I like having a little bit of everything. So I picked a market that has cash flow and an appreciation potential. So that's really what I was looking for.
Yeah, I think that does take a lot of digging, and I think it's again, it's I spoke with someone in a different market, not Indianapolis, in Memphis actually. I don't know if you've looked there, but it's really finding that some the area where, like you said, where there isn't quite as much crime. I mean, just different criteria, but not so expensive that it doesn't make those numbers work. There is a sweet spot in the middle, and that takes some digging, and it takes really some investigating and talking to the right people in those markets to get that thing. So how many properties do you have now? How many do you?
Personally, I have 4. I'm managing about 9. So
So all the other ones that you're managing for your dad are in the Washington area.
Yeah, they're all local. Yeah.
And then all of your 4, are they all outside of Washington?
Yeah, they're all in Huntsville, Alabama.
Oh, okay. Yeah. That was another, not Huntsville, but that was another Alabama. I think we talked about this. That was another area we looked at years ago. And I think, when you looking in other cities, I think, yes, finding the partners, finding the neighborhoods, but looking at also what economic things are going to be coming. For example, where was this that I just read about? That there's a new factory being built there. That means there's going to be a lot of potential jobs, which means there's going to be a lot of workers with that demographic probably rent for a long time. I'm not saying everybody who is in a factory rents, but there are people they're maybe not buying yet. Those are some of the things to look at. What's happening there, what's being built, what's growing, and then seeking things kind of ahead of that curve so you can get in with.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Jobs coming in is always a good thing.
Yeah, exactly. So, what else was I going to ask you about that? You've got so bigger. Let's talk. You mentioned Bigger Pockets. I know that you've referred a few people to me through Bigger Pockets, and you've got a pretty big network there. How has that helped you?
It really helped me with picking a market. So When I was in between Indianapolis, Memphis, and Huntsville. I just kind of threw it out there. Like, how am I supposed to know which one to pick? And once I threw that out there, just crowds of people were messaging me saying, "Oh, I have a contact in this city. Let me introduce you." And that's how I got connected with my agent down in Huntsville.
Yeah.
So that's really, I mean, the community they're just super helpful.
Yeah.
If you have any kind of small question, you throw it out there, and people will come flocking.
Yeah, exactly. And so if you were like, I mean, 4 is great. And I know you're looking at continuing to add to that portfolio.
Yeah.
What would you tell somebody who is just kind of starting out based on your experience? If somebody's looking to look at somewhere else, where would you tell them to start, or what advice would you give them from what you've learned?
Really start talking to, a bunch of agents, because they're going to know the market really well. You kind of tell them what you're looking for, and they'll give you advice. Maybe you should go to this place, focus on better schools. This area is up and coming. They're really going to be able to give you some information on what they think meets your criteria.
Yeah.
And then, especially if they're investor friendly, they're going to have the resources, the contractors, plumbers, roofing company to help you. If you want to do rehabs, they're going to help you with that. So
yeah,
they have the property management companies too.
Yeah,
you have a lot of connection with that. Yeah.
I was going to add that because we really know, and we know where what people are looking. We know what rents well. We know what doesn't rent so well.
Mhm.
What takes forever to rent. Those kinds of areas. That's where we can give a lot of guidance. And again, if you find a management company who's very in tune with investing, not just straight up manage it, then you've got somebody who can really help you.
Yeah. So, I mean, in Huntsville, I have a property management company, and then the agent also manages, 2 of my properties. And I'm much happier with the agent managing, just because he has an understanding of what it is that we're looking for.
Yeah.
So yeah, finding a property management company that also buys and sells homes is probably a good idea as well.
Yeah. I mean, and everybody doesn't do it, and they don't do it, they don't always do it well. I think it's a little easier to go from doing sales, kind of like we did, into the management. They're 2 different things, but I think that's a little easier than going the opposite direction, because it's, we've been doing this for 20 some years. We've been through lots of markets, and the strategies of buying and selling vary within all of those markets. Like right now it's tough. And I remember these days from back in the 2000s when we were competing for everything, but that's different. That's helping your investor. But I don't know. I feel like it's having both of those is having somebody who understands both could be very helpful. So
yeah, absolutely. And they're more likely to do a better job because they want to continue to work with you.
Yeah, exactly. And then, and getting those references is key, especially when you're not there. You can't go by and check on it. You don't know what's going on, but there's certainly opportunities outside of where you live. So I think that's, you're somebody who's you've dove into that, and it's awesome. So
yeah,
we look forward to buying more. We own several rental properties locally, but we too are looking to expand in other areas. And
have you decided which markets, or are you still kind of looking?
I need to have more of a conversation with somebody in Indianapolis. We were looking at Memphis for a number of reasons, but like I said, there was somewhere that came up recently that I wanted to explore, and I can't remember where that is. But yeah, I mean, we've been running our business, and that's been growing, and I'm really happy about that. So it's kind of put a little bit on that off to the side, but our son who works with us, he's very interested in kind of getting his feet wet in investing.
Right.
He will do it. We'll probably do some stuff together.
Yeah, that'll be fun.
Anyway, that's a great kind of wrap up to that sort of thing. So hopefully that was a little bit helpful for you. And if you are interested in looking at properties in other cities around the country, and you've sort of explored places, feel free to reach out to me, because I have a big network of realtors and property managers all over the country in different markets who know sales values, rental values, and really can help find a good investment. I've spoken with a number of them myself. I'm looking to do some more investing myself in other markets. So if I can help you in any way, just reach out to me directly, put something in the comments. I'll get back to you and see if I can help you out.